And welcome back to the Cabbage Patch. I'm Dad.
I'm Tom. And I'm Gus. And we have switched seats.
And we switched seats, exactly. So what do we play today, boys?
We played the Megaland.
Megaland. Megaland is a game. How many players is Megaland for? I think it's up to 4. It actually doesn't say on the side of the box. It's for at least 4 players. Yeah, I think it's up to 4 players. It's a card game. It's a city game.
For at least 2.
I'm sorry, for at least 2. So it's up to 4, at least up to 4 players. I'll double check the box before we're done tonight. But it's a game for at least up to 4 players. That you're building a town and you're pressing your luck. The way the game works is it's sort of it says you're in a video game, right? And the way the video game works is you take your little character standee here and you go into the dungeon. And then you turn over these dungeon cards and encounter monsters or treasures or nothing, right? So the whole idea is every time you take a turn, you put your characters here, right here in the standee area. That's the dungeon, right? Each player gets a treasure that they're risking, and then you decide if you're staying in the dungeon. And if you stay in the dungeon, you turn over the next card, and the cards have various effects, which you can see, I believe, here in the screen. So anytime you've got this little skull and crossbones, your characters take a wound. And if you ever have too many wounds on your character board,
you die.
You fall. You don't die, you fall. And the character boards look like this. Where little hearts on one side. You start off with 4 hearts, and you buy more as you go through the game. If you ever have no hearts on this side, you fall. You leave the dungeon, and you lose all the treasures that you had collected along the way. And you keep turning over these dungeon cards until somebody blinks and decides to leave. So this one does 2 damage. This one gets you a free treasure. This one does 2 damage. This one does another damage. This one does nothing. This one does nothing. This one does 2 more damage. This one does nothing. This one does 1 more damage, and then this one does 3 damage. So the whole idea is you press your luck for as long as you can, so that you leave the dungeon with as many treasures as you can, and the treasures look like this. And there are, I think, 6 different kinds, and each of the individual kinds of treasure are used to then buy towns or buy hearts. Or I'm sorry, buy town cards, building cards. So you need 2 different kinds of treasures to buy a 2 building, and each of the town cards has an effect on it. This one lets you use eggs as any treasure type. So in order to buy a building card, you need to have unique treasures, and then number up to however many it is. To buy a new heart, you get 2 treasures of the same kind, and then 3 treasures of the same kind, and then 4 treasures of the same kind. So matching treasures buys you hearts, unique treasures buys you buildings. The buildings have various effects on them. Like this one lets you keep a treasure if you fall. So if you take too much damage in the dungeon and are forced out, you still get to take at least 1 treasure back if you've got a herd heart. And that's it. So it plays a little bit like Machikoro. It also plays a little bit like Deep Blue, right? When you play Deep Blue, you're diving down in, you keep taking those tokens out.
And then I kept getting blues.
You kept getting blues or blacks, and you die. In this one, is the dungeon going to be friendly? Is it going to be the rabbit? Or is it going to be the big red serpent? And that's it. And you play to 20 points. So at the end of each turn, you might get any number of these coins, and you're playing to 20 points. And different cards, like this one, lets you do different things when you buy it. So in this one, you get a coin, a victory point, and then 2 jump tokens. And the jump tokens let you do special things when certain types of monsters show up in the dungeon. They've got this little jump icon.
You can avoid all damage.
You can avoid the damage and still keep the treasure. So, and that's it. You're buying buildings. The game has 4 main phases in its turn. First phase is the dungeon, right? And then staying in the dungeon and getting treasures for it. Second phase is the buy phase, and it rotates who's the player that gets to buy first with this little first player token. You buy buildings or you buy hearts. The third, I think maybe it's 3 phases. Maybe the first is 2 phases. Then they do what they call the nighttime, where certain cards have effects that are triggered during nighttime. This one says give you 2 gold coins during the nighttime. Then you heal your character up and you start it all over again. Yes, sir.
Sorry if you hear voices in the background.
Don't worry about it. It's okay. It's really light, so it'll be fine. It's a thing upstairs. It's something going on upstairs. So that makes it pretty easy. And it's really simple to learn, and it played really fast. And you get 20 points, and whoever gets 20 points wins.
You won.
And I won.
And I got it.
And
I
Pat
got
goes
it.
second. The game box has got a great divider in it, so you can put all the pieces back and you don't have to worry about it. And the art's pretty cool, and it reminds me a lot of the art from Machikoro. So, Gus, what did you like?
I liked the let's say
The Press Your Luck?
Yeah.
Just stay in the dungeon long enough, you might get many treasures, or you might die.
Mhm.
That is a pretty cool thing. How about you, Thomas? What did you like?
I also like that. I also really like the art like I do with most of the games we play. Yeah, I also like the art.
The art's pretty cool. This country.
And I like the feeling of just getting stuff.
Getting stuff is good?
Most of the time in these games you have the same thing.
Yeah, well, it's because you're brothers and you have pretty similar tastes sometimes, so that's not terribly surprising. I like the Press Your Luck. I like the town building. And if you get a good town going, you can get good stuff every turn. I also like the simplicity of the treasures.
Like three non-food items and 3 food items.
Yeah, so the treasures are pretty straightforward, and I thought it was going to be a simple game. This is a game we actually got for free with a bunch of other games that we bought last summer. So I was surprised to learn that it was like Machikoro. I thought it's a pretty darn cool game. I do like the art. I like the Press Your Luck as well. I really like this game. Is there anything, things,
I like
rules? There was a
everything.
rule that we didn't remember to do.
I like everything.
You liked everything about it. Rules
Sometimes-
that we didn't remember to do. I don't. Was there
Sometimes I
any?
think we forgot a couple of times to give each other
Oh,
to get the treasures out.
yeah. At the beginning of the turn, you give everybody a treasure. You decide to stay. You flip the level card over. Then I have to give you another treasure if you decide to stay. If you decide to leave, you get to go home with all your treasures. If you stay, I give you another treasure, and then we flip another level card. There's also these jump tokens that happen that let you avoid damage if you buy a building that gives you some, and you have to decide to use them before I flip the card. So those are things that we forgot to do. But I think it's a pretty simple game. We ready to give it a score? Is there anything you didn't like?
Okay.
Not really? How about you, Gus? Anything?
Well, I don't really like
Can you
the
sit?
character
Come on,
designs.
take that seat.
I don't really like the
The character designs? Yeah, the characters are. I think the character designs are pretty cool. This is a
characters. I
cat.
like everything. There wasn't a thing I didn't like.
This is a crazy guy with a gem.
I think
This is a kid with a wand. And there was. I don't remember what the other one was. That's it. All right, are we ready to give it a score?
I think the character with the wand is a really
You might be a kid with a fishing pole. That's it. I liked it. So I had fun. We're going to play it again, I'm guessing. Ready to give it a score?
I'll go with a 2.
You gonna give it a
I
2?
think maybe a 3.
Look at the camera.
Okay,
You can give it a 3?
Mhm.
You give it a 2 or 2? So I'm going to give it a 2 as well. So that gives it a 7. That's pretty good. It's a pretty good game. I think we gave Machikoro a 7 as well. So I think we gave it pretty much the same score. So that's it. That's the game. Why don't you scoot the chair over so you can see the cameras because you're going to do the outro, right?
Tommy's going to do it since he switched.
Oh, all right. Well, no, I don't think you should do it. I think you should do the outro. So look at the camera and do the outro.
How about you both?
Yeah, come on, just do the outro.
Subscribe, like, the bells. With Tommy, leave a comment if you wish. Plenty of cabbages and all that stuff. find any eggs. Yeah, you're not finding any eggs.
No, find any eggs. You never find any eggs.
You never find any eggs.
You didn't get any darn eggs in the year.
No, I didn't. So also for breakfast and for dinner.
It's completely useless. All right. Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, good.